Well, okay, I'm back. I'm hoping I will actually finish this one, this session. Mostly I have the hair and eyes, and of course the cutie mark, and whatever I plan to do with the background will probably just be a solid color. I might just go with black, I don't know. But, yeah, hopefully I can get this stupid thing done. I'm a little tired of having it hang over my head. So, music. I've got one more song left from the Silent Hill 4 soundtrack, and then I'm going to go with Shattered Memories. If I run out after that, maybe I'll switch to Homecoming, even though I don't like the game that much. It does have a good soundtrack, so... But yeah. Oh yeah, this is, This is a live version of, Waiting for You. This song actually wasn't in the game at all. Turn that down a tiny bit. I'm gonna try to sing along with the music less this time. I'm a little embarrassed when I uploaded, part 3 recently, and I was like humming constantly, and I think half the time I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. And it's a little embarrassing in retrospect. So my voice is not that great, despite what some people say. Of course, having said that, I'm sure I'll end up doing it anyway. I happen to really, really like this song, so... Oh, I was gonna do the hair first. No, I'll do the whites of the eyes first, and then maybe I'll do the iris after that. Luna wants to hop up in my lap. Not right now, kitty. Mom's busy. My cat is so spoiled. I can barely sit in this chair without her hopping into my lap. It makes sense to have a shadow there. I think it does. In fact, I think, Whoop! Stupid. Whoops. I don't want to overdo this, but I don't want his white eye to be too white either, because this is supposed to look kind of dark. Wow, his eye kind of fades into his coat there, doesn't it? May have to add some more shading to this, to his coat right there. In fact, I think I will, because I really don't want to add any more shading to that eye white. Whoops, not jacket, coat. Two different things. Let me see if I've already... Oh, I have already used that color. Oh, crap. Yeah, it's the darkest color I have so far. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. ahead and block that off because I don't want to mess with shading on it. Whoops. A bit much there. Just to soften this up a little bit, because if you look, I mean, it might not show in the final one, but what I like to do is, since there isn't supposed to be a harsh outline here, I'll kind of blend that just a tiny bit. Okay. Okay. I really kind of don't want to do the hair. I don't know what it is. I think it's partly because it's blonde, and blonde hair is difficult to get realistically. And, I don't know if I want to use these exact colors, actually. Okay. I want to be in that audience. Who the hell? What audience is that they start cheering when the Silent Hill theme comes on? Shut up, Luna! I gave this damn cat some food right before I started. Now she's being a little pain in the butt. I think I'm kind of going about this the wrong way. Let me back up. Start over. I think it's a little early to be putting those dark shadows in there. Back up a little bit and think about what I'm doing here. Well, his hair sort of gets darker towards the ends, right? Or at least that's probably just shadow, but that's how it looks anyway. I'm gonna start with soft shading and then... His hair always looks much darker in the back, at least in a lot of the pictures I've seen. hair is almost the same color as his coat. I think I've made that comment before. I gotta remember he has a tail, too. I don't recognize this song. Yeah, I like that one. Nah. Just keep going darker on the shading. I kind of like doing blonde hair because there's a bit of a trick to getting it just right. If you just color it yellow, it looks unnatural and not right at all. There's a lot of like browns and there's a lot of browns and almost blacks and whites in there, and blonde hair doesn't tend to be all one color. It's got lowlights and highlights and stuff. So I think I said it was a pain a few minutes ago, which it kind of can be, but it's one of those things that looks really cool when you get it just right. Yeah, sometimes I don't recall doing this before with this particular one, but sometimes I'll hide the lines if I need to grab a color that I've already cut. Yeah, it doesn't look quite as good this way, although it looks kind of interesting sometimes. Time to start putting in some detail, I think. Once again, grab some colors here. What's going on there? Oh, I think I messed up. Oh, I did that when I was coloring the ear. That's interesting. Okay, that's not where it ended up. Oh, pink. There we go. Okay, let me unhide the lines now. I don't know why this feels so daunting to me right now. I've been afraid to do this hair for some reason. I think I'm going to not go with a soft brush for a bit. I use soft brushes a lot. Maybe more than I should. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Here's the other world. Music. I think they refer to it as a nightmare world in that game. I'm not sure if I like that, but I can always go back and blend it some more later. I'm probably going to, yeah, I'm definitely going to go back and smudge this, so don't be alarmed if the lines look a little funky. They should look better once I mess with it some more. I really liked it. Did I say already that I really liked Shattered Memories soundtrack? Because I do. I think Downpour soundtrack is great, but when I first heard it I was a little disappointed because I was sort of used to this one. But you know, I thought about it and I realized that Shattered Memories is kind of a very like slow and quiet game, so it sort of needs extra interesting music, whereas Downpour has a lot going on and it doesn't really... It's just fine for the music to be more like... more to set a mood than to distract you, if that makes any sense. Makes it not quite as good to listen to on its own, but it works fine in the game, so that's all soundtrack really needs to do in the end. I'm kind of wishing I'd, well, I can always go back and fix it. I feel like maybe I didn't put quite enough shading on this. Let me go back a little bit. Whoops. Photoshop only lets you go back so far. Oh well. Is that the color? Yeah. I was thinking of actually taking a soft brush to this again, but I don't think I'll bother with that. I think I'm getting somewhere with this gradually. Let me not forget about the tail. It needs details on it too. wonder if I made this tail longer than I should have. I've noticed that on the show colts tend to have cropped tails. And I don't know why, really. Is it, I don't know, is it girly to have a long tail? I don't know. But I just thought to myself, I'm not going to do that with James. He can have a nice long tail. He has short hair on his head. I figure that's about as masculine as he needs to be there. I'm trying a few portraits of James every now and then, and one thing I've noticed is his hair is kind of piecey. And that might be because of the, you know, because it's, you know, CG and therefore it's like modeled somewhat. I mean, I guess there's probably a hair plug-in used. I don't recall. But that might be why his hair is piecey like that. But I like the look, so I try to duplicate it whenever I draw James. Not that I've drawn him a lot. I've really only drawn him twice. But both times, in fact, this little shadow right here, both times I made that shadow really show up. I remember this one. People always refer to this as, well, I don't know about always, but I remember at least one or two people in the comments section when I did the Let's Play of Shattered Memories, they refer to this as a Vincent Price laugh. And it does kind of resemble the laugh that Vincent Price does at the end of Thriller, but I don't think that's actually Vincent Price. It'd be neat if it was, but... Okay, let's blend this thing. No, I don't want the brush to be any bigger than that, I don't think. Sometimes adding blending to hair isn't such a good idea. Hopefully it is here. Yeah, some of this is gonna have to be touched up, but yeah, it's smudging along a line tends to kind of mess it up a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't have smudged. Maybe I should have just used a soft brush instead of trying to smudge this later. But, you know, it can be cleaned up. It's not the end of the world. Trying to decide if that line is too dark or not. It could be. But let me go back to the tail again. Whoops, what am I doing? I messed up. One of those times I thought I had the brush tool and I had the smudge tool instead. Uh-huh. good to be kind of random. Put little white highlights where... just in kind of random spots. I think I'm gonna leave that tail alone and not touch it anymore. Actually, is there's a little more yellow in the hair than there is in the tail. So much for not messing with the tail. Gotta make sure it matches. This soundtrack is so weird, but I love it. Yeah, this is more Otherworld music. Let me do away with some of that shadow there. Oh, oops. Turned out to be a black line that I was messing with. I think I'm almost there, actually. Would it be funny if the hair gave me very little trouble after I procrastinated on doing it for so long? I kind of wonder if maybe that brown should be darker in some areas. It feels a little flat in here, but... oh, actually I'm feeling like maybe it's almost too dark. Let me take a look at this one again. Yeah, I basically did it the same way. Maybe I had the right idea the first time. Well, if it's too flat, rather than making it darker, I'll make it lighter. Okay, let's see. Put some of that color in, maybe. That doesn't look quite right to me. I think I had the right idea of putting highlights there, but I feel like I overdid it a bit. Damn, now I want to play Shattered Memories again. I've not played Shattered Memories since I did my Let's Play, actually. Because honestly, anyone who was just even slightly paying attention probably picked up on it, but I used all that same footage for my Game Den episode. I have not touched that game since then. Well, ever since Downpour came out, I've been playing that one. See, yeah, that's the darkest color. I'm kind of wondering, something in here isn't right, like, well, you know what, let's try actually smudging it. Did I do that already with this area? I don't think I did. I think I forgot to smudge this area. I think that might be good right there. One thing I have to remember is that I need to clean up all these outlines. I probably will not do that on video, because that's going to be very tedious, and you guys just would not want to watch that, trust me. Although, well, maybe I could experiment with blurring them slightly. Some of the cleanup would be boring for you guys to watch, but might be able to just blur them. That might be an okay thing to show. I think I'm ready to do the eyes. Not the pupils, the iris. Pupils will come in a little while. As a reminder of how to do the eyes, I opened up this little drawing I did of the cult from cult. I keep wanting to say cult because it's Silent Hill related, but anyway, this drawing of the cult I did from Silent Ponyville. I wanted to keep it open as an example, because this was the first male character I'd ever done. James is the second. I don't want to make the eyes too vivid of a color. I want to keep them kind of a gray-blue. I'm not sure of the exact color of James's eyes, but I think it's somewhere in that area. There's more Otherworld music. It's always easy to... Otherworld music is really easy to spot. If it has screaming in it, it's Otherworld. Otherwise, it's not. I might be overdoing this, but we'll see. Put a lot of work into shading the eyes. Shading and highlighting the eyes. Eyes are what people notice most. If your character has really striking eyes, people will pick up on that. Of course, while I'm giving these a dull color, I'm still trying to put a lot of detail into them. Now, need a really pale color. This is an interesting technique. It was a it was a tutorial someone did on DeviantArt of how they do those really... You can't see it on this shot of the cult. Maybe if I zoomed in more you could, but those little ridges on the iris, I like to add those. I think it adds some interesting detail. And someone put a tutorial up on DeviantArt showing how they did that. And ever since I learned that technique, I've been using it on my pony drawings, and I really like the effect. I've not done this in a while, so hopefully I don't mess it up. But basically, you take a... Should this be set to normal or multiply? No, not normal. Actually, no, normal is fine. I think it's like 50%, and you pick a color that's the same color as the eye, but make it a little bit lighter. And, you know, turn down the opacity, and just like make these little like spoke things, whatever, radiating out from the pupil, and try to keep them. I messed it up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but there. Ugh, definitely don't want to overdo it. Well, it's Vincent Price again. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do much with that eye anyway. So anyway, what I do, I can't remember if the other person did this or if this is just something I did because I liked it. Take smudge and just kind of try to soften them out a little bit, because you want them really soft and subtle. You almost don't even want to see them very much at this stage. Sometimes this turns out so subtle you almost can't even see it on the finished product, which is too bad. It's kind of it's a good amount of work to be going to waste like that, but okay. Now, you guys might notice I don't use dodge and burn very often. A lot of people do use it for shading and highlights respectively, but well, not respectively, the other way around. But anyway, a lot of people use them. I don't really, but I do use it for this because, like I said, it was a... Hopefully the exposure isn't turned up too high, but let's just see what happens when I try to use it. Basically, I'm going to put a highlight here. And see how it really... That might be too much, I'm not sure. But see how it really brings out those little spokes that I drew in? Turn that down a bit. And in fact, I think I'm only going to do it at the bottom. God, they look almost white. I'm not sure if that's too light or not. I think I like that. It might even be, like I said, it might even be too subtle. But let me go in and do a tiny bit amount of blending here like I did with the other side of the eye. There we are. And another reason I have the Colt open is because I wanted a reminder of how I handled the highlights. Up until I did this drawing of the Colt. God damn it. I was putting lots of little tiny highlights. That's one of those things about shoujo manga that I like. Shoujo? Yeah, shoujo. Shoujo manga that I like is that all those little highlights and details they put into the eyes. They make the eyes really big and they put all those little details in it, and I like that. I think it looks pretty cool, but it does look kind of girly if you overdo it. And with the Colt, I managed to, I think at first I did overdo it, and I went back and erased some of the highlights, and then it was perfect. So I wanted to keep this open as a reminder of how I did it. Oh, actually, I've got one more thing I need to do first. Actually, I need to put down my pen and use my mouse for this. A little trick I do with the eyes. And again, this is something I started doing with ponies recently. No. New layer. I like to make the pupil sort of a similar color, make it almost look like it's a similar color as the iris, but darker. And the way I do that is I almost make it look like it's glowing. I can't remember how I figured out to do this, but it's just one of those things I started doing and I liked it, so select, modify. I think I want to contract that slightly. Let's go with 5 and see if that's too much. Yeah, 5 will work. But let me... Okay, what am I doing? Oh. There we go. It's just a temporary thing. I'm gonna go back and trim that. In fact, I'm gonna... This is probably way overdoing it, but... And hopefully you'll understand why I'm doing this in a second. I'll try to explain it. Basically, what I'm gonna do here is take the darkest color of the iris, and this is on a new layer. Flood fill. And then go into filter. Blur. Gaussian blur, of course. It's the only blur you ever use. Well, not really, but... I may go and make that a little more transparent. Because I don't want it to be too obvious, but... And now... Blur again. Make the edge more fuzzy. Am I overdoing that? I think I might be. Hang on a second. There we go. I think that's better. Now, deselect. Okay. And turn down the opacity because I did overdo it a bit. His eyes are a really light color, so don't want the pupils too light. There wouldn't be as much contrast. Okay. And now I'm just gonna go and trim the tops of these. See, I just didn't want it having a straight line. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna make another layer. You notice these layers are normal, not multiply. This is going to be highlights. I am really reaching the home stretch of this drawing, I can't believe it. Okay, let's see. And I don't do anything fancy here, I just go with white. And I try to pick a good. Whoops, I forgot. Turn the opacity back up. I'm gonna go and fix that too. Why should it matter? Your dreams of a child, innocence is gone. Only fear to play with. Faces are changing, but nothing is changing. The pain, too late. You know, I think on the Colt I might have actually used lens flares for those particular highlights. I don't want to do that here because it's a bit of a pain. Now put a little tiny one. You know, I think I might be about at the point where I can just put the pen down and do the rest of it with my mouse. Not quite, but almost. His hair kind of blends into his coat. I think I've said that before. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself a lot today. But that kind of suits him because James is pale and he has that light-colored hair. Wait a minute. Temporarily let me turn down the opacity on this so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. I don't want the highlight to go over his eyelid, obviously. Sometimes highlights will do that on film, and the term for that is bloom, and it can look cool, but I don't... It's one of those things I don't really do with eyes. Now, how do they look?